All right, let's talk about REN. Very exciting. The best news on REN is that the numbers for running a node and their security model depends on a lot of node operators running a node profitably with a high REN value. We're not there. I mean, there's a long way to go. I'll get to my concerns about REN toward the end here. But let's start with the good news, which is if you look at last month or last epoch, every 28 days there's a new epoch. They call EPOCH for the node. And the last 28-day epoch, the dividend looks like about 11% and change. What that means is, in order to run a node, you have to have 100,000 100,000 REN. If REN was at 22 cents, that means that you would have to put down $22,000 to operate your node. And on that, you made a rate of about $2,500 a year. That's a nice return, because remember, the $22,000, that's not an expense. You're not just spending the money and it's gone. You're putting it into REN, running the node, and then if you want to get out of the node business, you get your REN back and you could sell it. Maybe it's at a higher price, maybe a lower. So you may get your $22,000 back or more than $22,000 back, plus you make the dividend. And if the price goes down, you make less. But this is not an expense. So these numbers are very good. That means running a node, at least according to last month, looks great. Now, I want to go through how I got these numbers. I'm going to do that at the end because I'm going to bore if you're not interested in that. And I recommend for those who are really into this, watch how I came up with the numbers and check my math and, track it on your own and check me. But let's keep moving for those who aren't trying to dig that deep so I won't bore you to tears. Now, where do I get all this info? I'll put the links in the description below. REN has their mainnet.renproject.io here has the information, how many nodes, what the last cycle was, what the current cycle is, and you need this information because I'll go through that at the end. It's quite confusing and whatever. Now, the other thing about the dividend, it was 2% in July, 3% in August. Then we went up to 10%. This month we're trending only 5% so far. It's only been like 5 or 6 days in the new epoch. We'll see. But you can sort of get a feel for what's happening by looking at this chart. Again, this is on Etherscan. I'll put this link in the video in the description. But you can see the volume growing. It was flat, then it went up. Then it took another jump up and sat here at this higher level for a couple months and then jumped again. Maybe we sit at the higher level for a couple months again and hopefully jumps again. Now, so last month when we had this 10% dividend, which is amazing, it included these 3 peaks. So maybe this month is lower, but that's not something to panic. I mean, the reality is a 10% dividend is huge, like, in the stock market and even in crypto. You look at Kyber, look at 0x, look at the dividends on other projects that are paying dividends. It's usually 2 or 3%. So 10% is very high. I don't know. That's good news to me. Sometimes when you see a very high dividend in the stock market, it means everybody knows there's a problem and the dividend's going to be cut. I don't think that's the case here with REN. I see this at least staying constant, if not continuing to grow a lot. Now, I have some concerns about growing too fast, which I'll get to in a little bit. Now, the REN price has sort of followed. Let's see how well it's followed actually. So toward the end of June it jumped, and then toward the end of August the volume jumped. So let's look at our pricing. Toward the end of June here. Yeah, so it jumped, where were we? It was at 8 cents, and toward the end of June it doubled to 16 cents. And then again it jumped, the volume, remember, jumped in August, and let's see, hold on. What was I? Here. What is this? That first spike, say August 15th. Yeah, so it shot up, right? So that's August 15th. So, the price is following the volume. Now, but the price came down quite a bit here, which, it sort of feels it feels overdone, and it also feels overdone because look at what happened to the dividend. I think it went down too much. And, a reminder to follow my Twitter. I've been posting a fair amount about REN, but I posted this tweet. Include me here. So REN volume holding up as the token price goes lower. It had gone under 30 cents. I mentioned the dividend 10%. If REN goes to 15 cents, I recommend you back up the truck. Not a financial advisor, a truck driver. Back up the truck and buy some REN tokens at 15 cents. Now, when I posted this, let's see, September 7. So it was about here, right? It had come off a lot, but it was still at, where are we at? 25 cents. And I said, oh, be ready, be ready if it goes to 15 cents. Felt very like, oh, it's never going to get there. And then during this plummet, I was getting, people were posting, you're an idiot, REN sucks, because it was going down. Listen, we didn't get to 15, but it did hit 17, right? And I don't think we're going back there. Unless, listen, if this falls off, well, then the thing's going down. But I don't think that's happening. I think we put in a little bottom here at 17. Not to mention, with a 55 to 17 cents, it's like a 70% drop. Pardon my math if I'm wrong there. I'm sure I am wrong, but that's a hell of a drop. That's a very healthy correction in a bull market. So, anyways, that's the excitement with the price. Now, okay, let's get into why REN can be difficult here and where I'm concerned. Now, the key to REN. And from me, now I understand some of you knuckleheads out there don't care about decentralization, maybe don't even know what it means. I'm all about the decentralization. That's where the value comes. I am in REN because, well, first of all, honestly, I thought it was going to be more decentralized at launch than it is. I'm a little disappointed that it's not decentralized yet. It's fine, though. I trust it. I also understand taking a slow, measured, gradual decentralization approach. Almost all projects sort of that are going in the right direction, it is gradual. It doesn't launch, well, sometimes some things launch fully decentralized, but I'm okay with getting there gradually. But what I don't want is I do not want a Cardano situation where, They always say, oh, we'll be decentralized in 3 months. They've been saying that since 2017. Oh, we're about to be decentralized. And once a year, they have a big announcement about how it's going to be decentralized in 3 months. They do that once a year, a big one. And then it never happens. And they're not, listen, maybe they will eventually. I don't know. But I don't like. So, here's the issue with REN. Well, before I even get to that, let me just say one thing, too. Two issues. Before I get to the decentralization listen, this is what I know. Bitcoin moving to Ethereum is a killer app. That was my theory before this thing happened, and then it launched, and guess what? Look at all the volume. 99% is Bitcoin on Ethereum. Now, originally, and I've mentioned Zcash, I thought, oh, this is cool, Zcash. Guess what? No one gives a shit. Now, I knew no one gave a shit about Bitcoin Cash. Okay, that's not a surprise. But I expected Bitcoin on Ethereum to dominate, but it's even more than I expected. So now there's a law, everybody's all excited about REN is gonna, connect to every stupid chain with no activity on it. And my concern is it's just a waste of time. Like, nobody fucking cares. I kind of like, if I could have Binance, because I do hold BNB, maybe it would be cool. And that has some volume, if that was available on Ethereum. And maybe there are some Ethereum tokens that would want to be on Binance. Binance has some volume, so I kind of see connecting with them. But everybody Everybody loves dreaming, oh, we're going to connect with Polkadot. And Polkadot may be wonderful in 5 years and they find some applications and uses. But right now, there's nothing going on. Why is everyone so excited about connecting with a bunch of chains that have nothing going on? Hey, I hope I'm wrong. I hope things, whatever. But I wish we would be more focused on what's fucking working today, which is Bitcoin. And then I wish we were just focused on how many ways can we get Bitcoin onto Ethereum, and how can we ensure that the node operators are making a lot of money so that there's more nodes and higher dividends and the price of REN goes up. I just, listen, I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years on the internet. And in general in business, it's always the 80-20 rule. And when something works, you fucking run with it. It's like, we've got a business here, Bitcoin on Ethereum, double down, triple down on it. But we're all trying to start a new business. Oh, let's get, Ethereum killer fucking shitcoin. Let's connect to that one. Maybe that'll be awesome too. God help me. So, that's one point. Now, my other concern, and by the way, I was in REN early. I love REN. And people, I see this with every token. When you have a token you like, people are like, don't say FUD. Oh, cover my ears. He said could be a problem. If you don't have uncertainty and doubt in every one of your investments, you don't know what you're doing. Okay? You're in over your head. If you have fear, that means you have too much money in it, okay? There shouldn't be any fear, but there must be uncertainty and doubt. And for those of you who love REN and can't handle listening to me, get some tissues and go cuddle with mommy. And go find an adult who can do your investing, okay? So calm down. So my other concern here. So REN's security model, and I want to separate the security of REN. What do you call it? There's a page here about how they will gradually move, slowly becomes a fully decentralized network. The security model, I look at it, there's sort of two ways of looking at it, two parts to it. One is simply the technology, which is like, there's X number of nodes, and then there's shards, and how the private key is. There's a lot of like the computer, the programming. The other part of the decentralization is that the cost of REN is high enough that not just anyone could just get a bunch of nodes, and that requires that running a node is profitable. And the model that they came up with originally, and I'm not even sure this. Well, okay, sorry. This gets a little confusing. Okay, so bear with me. If you're into REN, if you're just a fucking day trader, you've watched enough of this video, right? If you really want to dig deep, put on your seatbelt. You might have to listen to this twice, and I'm sorry if I have marbles in my mouth. Okay. So the security model says there should be 3 times the value of REN locked than there is tokens locked on the REN network. In other words, right now, REN bonded to nodes is 30 million. That number is supposed to be 3 times higher than the Bitcoin locked on the network, which is $230 million. So this is supposed to be 3 times bigger than this, but actually this is almost 10 times bigger than this. So the number is upside down. Now, we're early in the project. I understand. Fine. But I want to make sure, because I'm in this for decentralization, and if REN's not in it for decentralization, eventually I'm outsy. So what is the plan to get there? There is a path. I can see. I'm not sure people are taking it seriously enough. To get there, maybe with these fees need to get higher, right? So there's more money in this, more node operators, REN price goes up. Or there's also a thing called continuous fee, where the money that is locked accrues a fee over time, which incentivizes people to lock it up for less time. And the continuous fee isn't even turned on yet. So that's another thing that could happen. So, great. It's early. It's fine. This number has to get a lot bigger. But how much bigger, right? And what is the plan? What is the time frame? I'd like it more defined. It's not. I understand we've only been launched a couple months. I don't think anybody, even the biggest bulls like me, did not expect this number to get this big, this fast. Fine. I'm not bailing out yet. But I think this is an important topic. Now, the other thing that I'd like to hear more discussion on is, okay, this number needs to be high. There's a thing that if this number isn't high enough, someone could gain control of 30% of the nodes, and then they could mess with some of those nodes, but that's like how much you need to gain control of some of the nodes. But that doesn't mean you can just drain all the Bitcoin either. It just means you can sort of gain control of one shard, and then they can kind of stop you. So I think we need to have a more granular security model explanation that talks about, well, there's a difference between there's a risk that a penny could be stolen and a risk that all the money could be drained. And what is the risk of how much could be taken in a certain scenario? And also to be cognizant of the fact that, like, we see this with proof of work chains, right? All you need is 51% to mount an attack. Well, you actually need more than 51% because, you have to sort of, I'll tell you what. If anyone's following me here, put something in the comments. I want to continue this conversation. If somebody's smart and can continue it, I don't want to bore everyone to tears here. The point I was getting at is that what is theoretically, mathematically possible for an attack is not the same as what would a sort of entrepreneurial criminal spend their time on and actually be able to profitably steal. Like, in other words, 51% is the mathematical theoretical attack on a proof of work chain, but a criminal might not bother unless they can get 70%, right? And even in that case, they don't destroy the whole chain. We saw this with Ethereum Classic. Someone comes in, they steal a couple Milski, and they get out of there, right? That's different than at 51% destroy the whole chain, right? Which is the way I think mathematicians may talk about it. I've probably lost all my viewers with that. But for those of you who hanging in there, actually, I think I got through most of the hard stuff. Oh, I had one more fun topic. Should have probably put this one early. TBTC is a competitor, theoretically, in that they're trying to create a decentralized way to bring Bitcoin onto Ethereum. I've looked at it. I don't know if it's going to work. When I listen to their model, it doesn't make sense to me. And one thing, and I've had this, people commenting under the video, it's like, just because you don't understand something, just because I don't understand something, doesn't mean it doesn't work, or it won't work, or that it's wrong. It just means that I don't get it, right? And I'm very respectful of me not understanding something. Doesn't mean it's broken, but it does mean I don't invest in it and I don't get excited about it until I understand. And sometimes I didn't get Amazon, honestly. Years ago, I was like, oh, they're losing money. And like, I didn't get it. I wish I got it earlier. I was wrong, but it is what it is. We can't all understand everything. So anyways, TBC, I'm a little bit like, I get REN. I don't really get the TBTC model. But let's watch it. Now, one thing that I did not like with TBTC before they launched the other time and it failed, the media loved TBTC. It's all you heard. Bitcoin coming to Ethereum on TBTC. It was like a parade of fanfare. And the thing launched, didn't work, and they had to shut it down. Meanwhile, I couldn't get anybody to talk about REN when I was buying it at 4 cents. And guess what? That turned out to be a winner, right? So now I think people are a bit more sober about TBTC, and they're launching slowly, and maybe it's going to work, and maybe it becomes something, and maybe someday I understand it. So I would keep my eyes open. But they're not going to shoot out of the gate because they want to ramp up slowly. Now, keep in mind, that was another thing I wanted to say about REN. I'm not sure I love this growth at all costs, try to grow before this shit's figured out. Like maybe we should be raising prices now and working out the security model a little bit more, making sure this continuous fee works. Maybe we're creating this giant honeypot. And I understand there's the gray core. Like REN is secure now. It's secure because it's centralized. So it's secure also because we trust the people who are securing it. It's not decentralized. And I'm fine with all that right now. But there's also a thing, the longer it takes to decentralize, the more incentive there is to not decentralize, and sometimes it can get more difficult. It's like you've heard, it's counterintuitive that a company that raises a ton of money early, it hurts them. Because they have so much money that they get sort of lazy and they don't, create the product market fit in the right way because they have all this money. Similarly, I could see something with REN of like, ooh, we have all these transactions, but they don't really fit into a secure, decentralized business model, and they actually get off track because they're so excited about this growth. So there is an argument that REN is growing too fast, and we should raise fees to slow it down and focus more on the decentralization. Anyways, TBTC is launching slowly. Maybe it's smart. I like it more now than I did a few months ago when every media person was saying it was the greatest thing in the world before it launched. I was like throwing up in my mouth. Now I'm like, okay, people get it. Maybe it'll be something. And I think no matter what, Bitcoin on Ethereum is sort of a killer app. And let me also say, people talk about, is that good for Bitcoin? Is it good for Ethereum? It is good for both. I think it just, I think if, let's say 30% of all Bitcoin moved to Ethereum. That would be great for Ethereum, a ton more collateral on Ethereum. And it's great for Bitcoin because it's sort of a second layer solution for them. It gives Bitcoin people something to do. Still 70% of the Bitcoins are on the Bitcoin network, so that network should still continue to function. Great. If 80% of the Bitcoin tokens go to Ethereum, well, that's not great for the Bitcoin chain itself. That almost makes Bitcoin want to just become fully an app on Ethereum. But on the other hand, if that many came over, then Bitcoin's probably one of the main collaterals on Ethereum. And so, I don't see how this situation loses for either side. So I think it's all good. And it's good for both in most scenarios that I run through my head. Now, I of course think everything is better for Ethereum because Ethereum is the king and I don't even want to own Bitcoin. But by the way, I don't own Bitcoin right now because I'm sorry, I don't see it. And I love crypto. Well, what if you're wrong? Bitcoin goes up a lot. If Bitcoin goes up a lot, I'm pretty sure Ethereum and REN goes up a lot. And so, another thing I've realized by looking at these numbers, if you own REN right now, you're betting on Bitcoin as well. Because your dividend is being paid in Bitcoin. Your volume is from Bitcoiners coming on Ethereum. Your Bitcoin price and a booming Bitcoin is going to be booming revenue for REN. So I do have a bet on Bitcoin by playing with REN, by the way. Last thing I just wanted to mention, in my attempts to study and learn this stuff. Oh, I need to go back. I'm going to go and explain this here at the end. Before I get to that, I want to thank, there's a REN Telegram group who answers questions. Telegram is a bit of a pain in the ass because things scroll so fast. If you don't check your answer right away, I feel like it disappears. Maybe I don't know how to use Telegram. But nevertheless, I post a question in there and I immediately have people who seem informed answering me. Now, although they seem informed, I've gotten some conflicting answers to questions. So I don't know, how perfect it is. But it is helpful, and if you're trying to study, you can go there and ask them questions. Now, I did get help from them in figuring out these numbers, and some of the things I got conflicting. So now I'm going to dig into these numbers, show you what I did for those of you who want to recreate this and check my math. Okay, so for the last epoch, ended 920, current cycle, it said, we just looked at it, it was 307, and like I said, these numbers are moving every day. even though the epoch closed. You could log it. I should probably leave it at the number it was. Anyways, okay. But here's the problem. In an epoch, so what happens is, if in the cycle it had made 307, it only gives you half. It only gives the node operators half of that money, and the other half gets carried to the next epoch. So this cycle says 167. Wow, it's only been 5 days. It's already made 167. And for a while, I was like, holy shit, the dividend's 85%. Like, I was like, oh, wow. But guess what? The reason that happens is because from the last period, I carried over 153. Now, even this is wrong. Because, so this is how it works. And this is why I put this at the end of the video, if you're bearing with me here. And I had conflicting information. Someone on that REN telegram told me originally that REN makes X amount in a cycle, and half of it gets paid to the node. The other half gets saved, gets moved to the next epoch to be distributed at the end of the next epoch. But then someone said, then only half of that gets distributed the next epoch, and then the next half moves to the next epoch. So the problem is, in just tracking the numbers month to month, so this month says 167, but on day one of this epoch, it started with 153. You follow me? And even that number isn't correct because I just did 50%. So if you can figure out a better way to track this, and this is the thing that I think REN needs to be spending more time focusing on. Instead of trying to get shitcoin, Ethereum killer, ghost town fucking connections on the REN node, let's get Bitcoin working. Like, and what are these numbers? How is someone supposed to run a node if they can't figure out how much they're making? Okay? Someone develop some software. This is like it's like an affiliate program, right? You sign up, you run a node, it's a business. They could provide some software to make it so the operators can run their business. I can't figure out these numbers, right? So what I do on my spreadsheet here, I've got the current cycle. Well, so here's the actual current cycle I put here, which is this minus the previous amount that I brought over. Keep in mind, this number isn't correct, and it's a Bitcoin number that's a price that's moving, right? So who knows? So these are best guesses here. But anyway, so then I get my actual current cycle, what we had for that actual cycle, by subtracting. Then I turn that into per day. By dividing by number of nodes. Then I make it per year. Yeah, so divided by 28. Divided by number of nodes, divided by 28 days. That's the per day. Then I make it per year by multiplying by 365. So that's the per year. And then there's the node cost, whatever it was at the end of the epoch, or whatever you want to put in. And then you get your dividend. So, I don't know. I hope this is correct. Literally, I've been doing this since June, and I've found errors like every 2 weeks. So, and now I'm at the point where it's never mind finding errors. I know that I don't even know how to make it exact due to this money being moved to each epoch. So if somebody can do better, that would be great. And maybe, if REN protocol is not going to provide these tools to help the node operators, maybe that's a business opportunity out there. Help REN node operators run their business, create some software that tracks the actual earnings, and then there's other things too. At the end, you get some money back, you get REN BTC. What do you do with that REN BTC? Are you selling it off for DAI or something else, or are you locking? What do you do with your dividends? Which are the dividends are paid in REN BTC. What do you do with it? So there's a lot to running this business, and that is not just like, oh, how can I make money running the business? That's REN's security model. So let's figure it out. Anyways, I still think right now, REN, with these prices, with this growth rate, this is the greatest investment at this moment that I've seen, there have been very few that I've been this excited about. I just see this as, this looks very no-brainer to me, that REN price go up. Now, if it, I see the thing going to $2, right? Because I think the dividend, I can see the dividend at 2%, right? So a 2% dividend means, well, let's just play games here. What if it was, let's go up 10, let's put it at $2. Okay, so $2 is a little below 2%, but granted the fees could go up. I mean, you could see this thing at $2. Now, I might start to unload and lighten my load if I don't see more work towards decentralization. So stay tuned. Let me know your thoughts. Much love. Oh, don't forget to subscribe. Or as my kids say, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications, which means turn on notifications, which you don't have to do. Okay, I'm rambling. See you later.